to the impeachment trial as the president's lawyers continue making their case for the president's acquittal. Democrats are demanding for witnesses at the trial, and that's gaining momentum today after some claims by the president's former national security advisor. Joining us now to recap and break down these recent developments is Dr. Sean Wilson, a political professor at Wright State University. Thanks for making the trip and being here with us again today.
Thank you, Brooke.
Good to have you back. So let's dive right in here. John Bolton's new book has been in a lot of discussion here this morning. He is more or less confirming the quid pro quo that a lot of people were talking about, the reason for withholding aid from Ukraine, and the president is still denying those allegations. How could this change the proceedings?
This actually is interesting. What's interesting is the timing. You know, always these leaks come out at the right time. And you have to understand this is just a leak of a manuscript that's not here yet. The couple of things that I take from it is that the articles of impeachment allege that Trump was trying to get Zelensky to make an announcement, to stand in a microphone and say something. That's not what Bolton's argument's going to be. It's much more direct, much more plain. And Bolton is saying that he simply wanted the matter to be investigated, not that there be an announcement. And the Trump people, through Alan Dershowitz, is taking the position that even if that happened, that Trump wanted there to be the country to look into this matter to see if anything was there, that's not an impeachable offense because it doesn't constitute a crime under the United States Constitution. So I think it's going to make Dershowitz's argument more interesting.
Yeah, and the president is doubling down on the reason to investigate the Bidens and the Ukraine is that there was a history of corruption. So he is claiming that is the reason. How do you think that argument will play out?
This is an interesting argument. They presented that today in today's argument, and so they put it out there. And so I think they're setting up a situation to where if Bolton is called, then they want to get these other things called. And they do have a backup plan to where if there are witnesses called, there are going to be depositions. Bolton's may be in private. So they definitely have a plan B. And their plan B is going to try to involve bringing the Biden thing into it.
By the end of this week, we will likely learn if witnesses like John Bolton will be allowed. Is this part of the process? If that is allowed, or even if it isn't, do you envision there being any new information revealed that could sway some of those Republican votes?
I think what will happen is if Bolton is called, there'll be the assertion of privilege. It's going to have to be litigated. I think it's going to be something that ties everything up. And I think there's going to be a real question as to why, if you wanted Bolton, you didn't do it right the first time. I mean, these accusations only happened in last July. So there should be a time to investigate this and do this. You really should do this without regard to whether there's an election going on. You know, you have to remember the impeachment is a serious sanction. If it goes through, it means President Trump can't run. And what that says is that the voters won't have a chance to have a say on this. And I think that's the problem.
All right. Well, we'll be watching this every step of the way. Dr. Sean Wilson from Wright State University, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.
Mark?